Hey, good afternoon. It's 3:31. It is June 27th. It is a Tuesday afternoon, and it looks like I got some good things done today. There's times where, as I mentioned before, that my depression does get out of hand. And I would like to say to the people who have been watching my videos, I think that there's a lot of people who are talking about, well, she's not working right now, and that she needs to hurry and she needs to do this, all this stuff. For people who are wanting me to rush my actions faster than I possibly mentally can, hey, mind your business and cut me some slack. Okay, I will tell you, in other times where I didn't know what was going on. Like, for example, right after I left the farmer's place, I was doing everything. I was pounding the pavement. I was doing everything I possibly could to find work. And this went on with all the other jobs that I had lost through this program, through the stalking program. And every time I hit the ground running, I would run into ridiculous job interviews and bullying and all this other stuff, as we know. And I'm not trying to bring this up, but once you send, like, I literally, at one time, I took a bunch of papers to the shredders, because I had created a lot of different, various resumes tailored to each job that I saw posted, cover letters or whatever. This is the extent of the abuse, okay? Like, just a lot of unnecessary work that I put into looking for work, all because of, for these people's sick entertainment, right? So that creates an issue in your mind, okay? Obviously, you know that there's people who are stalking you, and you are going to deal with something that is unpleasant, and you didn't want to deal with it. And so at this point in my life, I'm really not up and energetic for the constant abuse that I was dealing. And maybe, hey, you know what? Maybe these people have stopped and they've moved on. Hopefully they have, because I will tell you, it's gotten to this point because it lasted a little bit too long. But my issue is that, just like I always bring in Pavlov's dog as an example, that constant, this is what happens, here's the action, and here's the reaction, right? And I remember doing this so many times that, it just becomes an automatic sense of disgust, something I don't want to deal with. Also, there's some changes that I'm making in my life that I want to bring into my future endeavors. And, because of, they have this sort of manipulation that went on behind the scenes, you are in a situation where you're not really sure what you should do. Since they feel like they want to take control over everything, you're like, okay, well, should I brush up on this skill? If I do brush up on this skill, what difference would it make if somebody else was doing this? Or somebody else was creating your job? So you don't know what kind of direction you're supposed to take. You are left literally like, I don't know what to do. So that creates a lot of depression because you feel like you don't have control over your life. You're not excited about it, right? Because you don't know, and you're afraid of dealing with another bullying situation. So it creates a lot of mental problems, a lot, which I think that was highlighted in the video description box in one of my last videos, talking about this particular psychologist, and she talks about all these issues with people who actually take the time to talk to her, because she understands, maybe not firsthand, but she does understand this targeting program and how it does literally wear people down. So today was a productive day, and it really is like a process of dealing with it. Everybody knows who knows me. Knows that I'm somebody who's like an early riser. Like, I literally get up early in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning is not unusual for me. And I would say 3 days in a row last week, I felt so just completely depressed because, like I said, I'm starting to understand how dark this whole thing was. And it literally made me so sick, and which is one of the reasons why I covered that video, the Nazi ex-nephew thing, and how twisted it was. And I didn't realize how twisted it was until just recently when I made that video. And it's not because I have an emotional bond towards these people. It's more of the fact that somebody would actually invoke something that twisted, And so, my thing is that I obviously didn't deserve that. And I am dealing with this mental stagnation that I'm having to overcome. And I feel that a lot of people who've experienced targeting for very long periods of time, since it's very common for many people to opt out of doing anything. Some people just get on disability because they cannot handle it anymore. They become nervous wrecks. They cannot function anymore. Their ability to concentrate, their ability to feel safe. I think that's the biggest issue. You always feel nervous. You always feel like you're looking behind your shoulder. You're always feeling sick to your stomach, basically. And some people just cannot deal with it anymore, and they either commit suicide or they just leave the workforce, and they're not even working. Some of these people are just there looking for handouts, okay? And I'm not blaming these people for doing it. I am not blaming people for dealing with something that was so traumatic to them that they decided they can't do it anymore. But I am not that kind of person, okay? I'm trying very hard. I'm using all my mental strength to stay afloat, okay? I know that there's a lot of people who want to say that Maria is doing everything she can so she can rebel against society because they think that women are supposed to get married and have kids and all this other stuff. And because I'm taking an alternative route, people are immediately going to say this is about rebellion. This has nothing to do with rebellion. This has everything to do with, things that are based on certain situations. Like, everyone knows that I have a very high IQ, even though I know there's a lot of people who want to discredit me and say things like, I'm an artist, whatever, you can call me whatever you want. But I will tell you, my personality is what it is, and it's always been that way, okay? And I cannot change that. By changing that would destroy me. And there's a lot of little kids right now who are, maybe they're better in mathematics than other kids, or maybe they're sharper, or maybe they're extremely intuitive or creative or whatever, they have special gifts. They're going to school and they're being sought out and they're getting bullied all the time by kids. And this is even worse when it's adults, okay? It's even worse because they're not just stealing your lunch money, like I said, they're actually stealing everything that you ever have, destroying everything, okay? And we all know that that's against the law, the rules, or ethical, unethical, whatever, okay? But they do it. Adults are even worse than children, okay? Because they go after what really matters, your everything. Not only your home, your job, whatever, your hobbies, your lifestyle, everything. They take everything. Okay, so when you think about kids or bullying in the context of bullying in school, the little nerdy kid who might, I don't know, he's shorter than everybody, but he's really brainy or whatever, and he's constantly getting bullied. It's much like that. It's much like that. And, he has the right to wear big bottleneck, big bottle glasses and be who he is. You know what I mean? Or if he's the kind of kid who whistles after he gets off the bus from school, he has the right to whistle. He has the right to do those things. If that makes him feel balanced and that's what he does and that's who he is, he has the right to do those things. He does, okay? Now, maybe he shouldn't do it at certain times, you know what I mean? But he still has the right to be who he is. And so this kid gets constantly bullied, okay? Now, this is not about me standing up or trying to create an argument, but my issue is that I have been bullied for many, many years, okay? And because I do have a certain personality, okay? I have noticed that within my interactions with people, because I've been stalked and through the same people, they don't like who I am, and that's fine, okay? But at the same time, it's impossible to change who I am and live a productive, positive life. This is why so many people wonder, like, how did this person commit suicide? Because they committed suicide because they were saying, hey, I cannot live like this. I will never be happy like this. I cannot accept this. It's too much. It's too much. I can't do it. But no one's believing them or listening to them, or they belittle them. They're like, saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal. This person cannot live. They don't like the people that they're having to force to deal with. They don't like the jobs that they're in. They don't like the environment that they're in. They have to give up certain things, their own. What good is life at that point? So they should kill themselves, basically. I mean, there's nothing else for them to live for, right? So it's not about me being rebellious and saying not getting married is not a statement to people who are married. My not having other children at the age of 52 is not saying other women should not have children. at that age. That's just my personal preference. And when people are like basically putting me and backing me against the wall, to accept things like incest, which I will never accept, okay, or a religion that to me deprives me of who I am, I have to stand up and say something. Because by being forced into that situation, that would be fatal. You know, you see all these hear about these stories like, you know, men coming in, or just even women, killing their own family, their whole entire families. We never hear about why, the deep reasons why all of that happened. We never talk about that. They make it seem like that was just a random accident, or maybe they just woke up one day on the wrong side of the bed and just felt like, you know, hey, I'm just gonna do this. But a lot of it has to do with the pressures of other people putting them on, and they feel like there is no other way out. Now, I think I mentioned this person before, the lady who killed her kids. What was her name? And no, I do not condone that. What was her name? Andrea Yarding? I can't think of Andrea Yates. Andrea Yates, yes, her. You know, it's been said that, you know, her family put a lot of pressure on her to have kids. You know what I mean? She knew that she was at breaking point. She probably knew she was breaking point when she had her third kid. But guess what? It's the pressure. It's the pressure. It's pressure. She's probably saying, hey, you know, I can't do this, but this is something they put pressure on her to do. You know, and that, like I said, that's no excuse for her, but the people can put you in situations where you have no way out. No way out. You know what I mean? And I feel like this is what the situation was with her. Now, and in my case, I had no sense of self, no sense of freedom, and it was all against my will. I was never brought in any sort of tradition to where I'm rebelling against a particular tradition, because I was told that I could do what I want as an adult. So if anybody wants to sit here and say, oh, Maria's rebelling, or I'm a bad person, you know, everyone's going to have their opinion. But it's not true. You know, like I said before in my last video, I'm a woman who has to protect herself from abuse. And it would be very easy for me to be abused by someone. I do not have a support system. I don't have one. Okay, so a man could look at me and say, hey, you know what? She doesn't have anyone. And I could marry him, and he could end up controlling everything just like this person did. You know what I mean? And I will never be able to escape. Okay, it's about me protecting myself. Okay, so rebellion is not the issue. Okay, so, but anyway, back to me getting myself together. Yeah, so there's a lot that I have to do in my mind to get myself feeling right. So my biggest issue that I felt I was dealing with was my mind was constantly going back to, why would somebody do something like this? Okay, and so psychically, these answers were coming to me and remembering certain things, and this is the result of the video that I had just recently made about the Nazi thing, because I started realizing a little bit more. And believe me, I'm not trying to, my brain has been regurgitating a lot, okay? So that's a lot on a person. Like I said, I'm dealing with an unresolved issue that needed closure that I am never going to get. Okay, I'm never going to get that. Just like I deserve like full compensation to where I never have to work a day in my life. You see what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to worry about this. It's not because I'm looking for handouts. It's because I was set up in jobs and I was bullied at each and every one of them. And for reasons that were completely illegal. Okay? That left me in a state of mind that it's pretty disturbed. You know what I mean? It left me in a state of mind where I feel like, oh my God, how could I not go crazy? I'm a very strong person to be able to still deal with this. You know what I mean? To still say, you know, I'm going to pick up and get myself together and move on. Because I don't have any other choice. Okay? And if that other option that they were presenting to me, I couldn't even deal with it. So the answer is no on that. I have my own self to worry about. So anyway, as you notice, I decided to be a little bit lighthearted on my little picture today. I didn't do a lot of artistic stuff to my little video, but I did put this little stuffed animal that I got. He's an Escalado, I think that's how you pronounce it. I think they're really cute. So I just wanted to do that so I could be a little silly, try to get a little bit more lighthearted. Yeah, I think that I did make a video talking about how I feel about the corporate structure. And at this point in my life, you know, I'm open to doing different things, but I really do want to use my creativity more than anything else. Um, that's, you know, whatever happens in life, I take full responsibility for it. And, you know, like I said, when I first moved here to this community, when my son was really little, that I understood that I had to take care of myself. I knew that from the get-go. Okay, I never realized that there was going to be like I was going to be trafficked, and then people were manipulating my employment behind the scenes, and then they were inflicting their, you know, personal opinions on me and whatever, and that kind of stuff. I never knew that. I never suspected that. I just figured, you know what, Bakersfield is a very nice, inexpensive place to live. You know what I mean? And that's where I was looking at, because, you know, I knew I didn't have much, and I figured that was just an easy thing for me to do. So I always knew that, you know what I mean? But I had no idea like how all of that was going to happen. Anyway, so I just want to come here and make this video. I really don't have any other updates other than that. You know, I think when I have a day where I'm fully 100% like engaged in my activities, whatever those things I do, or I write down and say I'm going to do, the days where I wake up enthusiastic about what it is that I'm going to do is a positive sign. You know, I will tell you that I have felt very dark and depressed for a very, very long time. And my mind was just like twisted because, you know, I honestly don't have any sort of positive, how can I say this? Anything positive in my life that I can feel any sort of softness or good feelings towards. You know what I mean? And that's because I don't know. I've lost that people I used to know have lost value in my eyes. Like, not that I put them on a pedestal forever anyway, but it's like, you know, people have, it feels good to like somebody, to have a good positive image of someone, you know. Even, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a romantic image. It's like, if you ever think back in school when you the popular kid, or somebody who was really talented or whatever walked by, and you just waved to them, they waved at you, and you're like, you kind of smiled because you're like, hey, that dude's so cool, or whatever. And then now you look at it and it's just like, oh my God. You know, I've learned a very valuable lesson throughout all of this. And I think that everyone should benefit from this. Never place anyone higher than yourself. Ever. Okay? Because really, people have their own agendas, they got their own thoughts, and they're not always what you think they are. You know? And I can honestly say that at this point in my life, I rethink that. I think differently now. Like, I don't think that certain people should be placed on pedestals, or you should have high regard for people until, of course, it's been proven. And of course, it's very hard to prove those things, right? And until you get into situations like this. And then this is when people prove what they are. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video, and I hope to have a great rest of the day, and I hope that my viewers have a good day as well. I'll be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye-bye.